Hello, crafty friends. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to be playing with a really fun die, stencil, and stamp combo in today's video. I have some new products to show you from Spellbinders. So let's start out with this beautiful rose cluster. This is called Garden Party. It comes with some really fabulous strip sentiments and then a coordinating die. Here are the coordinating dies. Cuts out the big rose cluster, and then you have a rectangle die to cut out your sentiments. And then they also have a coordinating stencil. If you like coloring in your florals with stencils, which makes it super fast and easy and fun to do, then they do have a coordinating stencil for this. And all three of these do come in a bundle if you want all three of those. And then the next item is a beautiful die set called Heartfelt Thanks and Scallops. It comes with 5 heart dies and then 3 beautiful scallop dies to cut out some panels with. And then it also includes a sentiment that says thanks. So I'm going straight for this beautiful cluster of roses for my first card. And you can see that it fills up an A2 sized panel very nicely. So I'm going to put this panel in my Mini Misty so that I can stamp this out several times if I need to. This is a piece of 110-pound Nina Solar White cardstock. I'll use some black smudge-proof ink to ink up this stamp. And I really like the black ink from my favorite things called Extreme Black. And I do end up stamping this out about 3 times. But I am going to skip ahead and just show one stamping. I'm planning on cutting this out with a coordinating die when I'm done. But first, I'm going to attach it to my sticky mat and color it in using the stencils. This little sticky mat helps a lot. It just holds the stencil in place. And then I can pull out some beautiful inks. The ones I'm using for this first card are from Simon Hurley. I love this one called Cookie Dough. It's just kind of a pale beigey peach. I want these roses to look like peace roses, which are kind of a pale peach color with pink tips or pink highlights on it. So for the first stencil, I'm adding in the peach color. It really helps to use a small stencil brush like this. These are very small sections that I'm trying to color in with the ink. I'm bringing in another ink called Peachy just to warm up the roses a little bit. Then I'll move on to the next stencil. They're very easy to line up. I'll color in the 2 small flowers in this bouquet with the peachy ink as well. And then we'll move on to the leaves. And I'm starting off with a light green ink. And then I'll come in with a darker ink just to add a little bit of shading to the base of each leaf. And then if I need to go back to the roses again, it's really easy to line up and to add more shading and dimension to those. Last, I have the little berries, which I'm coloring in with a dark pink ink. This one is called Prom Queen. It's kind of a purpley pink. And I'll also color in the centers of the small flowers with this ink. And then this panel is all done. Just love how that turned out. I do like to pop it back in my Mini Misty so that I can freshen up the inked lines. And then I'll use the die to cut out this whole piece. With this little set, you can create some really gorgeous cards really fast. I'll take this off camera and cut this out. And here it is, ready to go on the front of a card. Let me peel off the tape. Some got stuck on the top of this. I'm going to back this with another white panel, but I wanted to add a little more ink to this. I'm using Prom Queen again. And I start off in the middle of the panel. You can see it's quite dark there in the middle, but that's going to be covered up with my roses, so I'm not too concerned about that. But I do want to get a soft blend around the edges. And that's going to go right over that stark circle in the middle. I'll pop this up with some foam strips. This foam tape will add just a little bit of dimension to this piece. This is thinner than my foam squares even, but sometimes that's all you need is just a little touch of dimension. And then I can put these pieces away for just a minute while I stamp out some sentiments. And I didn't know which one I wanted to use, so I'm going to stamp out a few. And I'm going to use a different color for each one. And I love that they are all in the same strip, so you don't have to try and line them up. You can cut them out really easily if you want to, because there's a nice gap between the words. And you can use the coordinating die for these. However, I found it was very easy just to use my long scissors to cut out these little sentiments. The last one I'm inking up with some pretty green ink. And I'll save the two that I don't use on this card for another project. I'm also going to use one of my favorite embossing folders to add some more interest and texture to this panel. It's called Loops, and I inked up both sides. I didn't know which one I prefer. They're both pretty, but I decided to go with the flat side. And I'll put some tape over the dimensional loops on this side and add it to my card base. Next, I can peel off the backing from my roses and center that on the panel. And I decided to use the black sentiments, and it says "with love." I fussed with those a bit, trying to decide where I wanted to put them, but I'm going to prop them up with some small foam squares at the bottom right corner of this card. I'll add a few diamond gems around this panel. I'll attach them near the sentiment in a triangle. And then that's all I'm going to do to this card. Let me give you a close-up look at this. Look at those beautiful peace roses. And then let's begin on card number 2. I went ahead and colored in my panels off camera using some purple inks. I created 2 rose clusters so that I could cut up one of them and add a pop of dimension right over the roses. So I cut out one of the roses, and I'm just adding a little bit of black ink along the edge of this. It just helps to make it look more finished. You could use a black Copic marker or any black marker that you have. I'm just using my Memento black marker. And I'll go all along the edge. And I'll do that with these 2 smaller flowers that I cut out as well. And I like to go really slow so that I don't slip up and scribble ink across the fronts of these flowers. But I'll pop these up with some foam squares. So here's my first rose. I'm just going to pop up 1 rose and 2 flowers. And this is another fun way to add dimension to your stenciled pieces. I cut out 3 panels with the 3 different scallop dies. Couldn't decide which one I wanted to use, so I decided just to go ahead and use all 3 of them. And now I can put this card together. So my first panel is going to be black cardstock, and I'll put that on top of my top folding card base. Next, I have a dark purple piece that I cut out with the largest scallop. It's really fun to put lots of layers on your cards sometimes, especially when you have cute background panels like these. It is a bit wasteful, but it sure adds a lot to the card. Okay, then I put down a piece of white cardstock with the medium scallop. And my last little scallop I cut out with some light purple cardstock. And then I can glue down my thanks sentiment onto the white shadow piece. I cut it out with yellow and with black, but I decided I liked the black the best for this card anyway. And it's very easy to line up on the shadow piece. So now I have my sentiment ready to go. Just going to set that up at the top of the card so I can gauge where I need to glue down my roses. And I'll glue these down flat since I already have some dimension on this piece. The sentiment I'm going to glue down flat as well. It's so easy to glue down when you have the shadow piece like this. I'm going to add a few yellow gems around this panel. And here is a close-up look at the finished card, trying to tilt it so that you can see some of that fabulous dimension. I'll put the links to these fun products in the description box if you want to check them out. There's so many fun, brand new crafty goodies that Spellbinders has released this month. I have my eye on some new cardstock colors and glitter cardstocks that are new in the shop, but I'll leave a link that will take you directly to all of the brand new goodies. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye.